Hello writers and welcome to another topic video. Today we are going to have a chat about plot bunnies, what they are and a couple of tips for how to tame them. Before we get started, I wanted to wish anyone who's taking part in NaNoWriMo or National Novel Writing Month the best of luck as that starts today. And remember that so long as you've done your best, you've done very well. And with that, let's get started. So, what are plot bunnies and why are they such a menace for writers? I'm sure that we've all been in this situation before. Psst. Hey, who are you? I'm a plot bunny. A plot bunny? Yeah, I've got some great ideas. No, I really don't have time to deal with you right now. It's way better than the stuff you're working on now. Listen. What? Really? No, I'm busy. I need to work on this project first. Oh, come on, don't say you're busy. This is a really great idea. We can make the most amazing world. We can really make that? Yeah, it's way better than what you're doing now. You sure? Go on, just let me tell you about it. Please? Come on. Okay. Yes. And that is a plot bunny. A new idea that pops up while you're already working on another project that just will not stop hopping around your head and demanding your attention. It will throw all of these amazing details at you and makes it seem like the most amazing project in the world and that it's far better than the ones you're currently working on. And it just will not give up. And some writers aren't only faced with one of these tricky little creatures either, sometimes they end up with a whole swarm of plot bunnies, since bunnies are well known for multiplying quickly. So it's at this point that things can start to feel a little bit unmanageable and overwhelming, and you can also be left wondering just which project you should be working on and how to manage all of these new ideas that just keep popping up. Now, I never really had this problem until I joined a writing community. And then, being around writers all the time and always discussing the craft and workshopping your and other writers' ideas, I went from having no novel or novella ideas to when I joined around 2 years ago to now having maybe 4 or 5 novel ideas or 2 or 3 novellas waiting in the wings. And that just reminds me how much work I have to do. But if this happens to you and you just keep getting all of these new awesome ideas, how can you manage them all if you're already part way through a project? Now, ignoring them is an option, but it isn't one that I would recommend, because why let potential ideas drift out of your memory just because you're currently occupied with another project? Some people say that if it's worth remembering, it'll come back to you eventually. But if you have the idea there and the ability to record it, why not just do so? It takes all of a couple of minutes to jot down a concept and it gives you something to reference again later on. You could also just let them run rampant. That's most definitely an option. If you enjoy creative chaos and just bouncing from project to project, just let them come and go as they please and give attention to whichever ones drift to the forefront. You could do that if that's how you like to work. For me, that would get pretty exhausting though, and I would feel I was never finishing things or that I was only working with scraps of scattered ideas, and they'd all feel a bit underdeveloped. So if you want to actually finish some of these projects, or at least get first drafts out of the way, then you're gonna have to get busy with some writer DIY and build yourself a rabbit hutch. For me, these are my rabbit hutches. Notebooks, probably far too many. I have maybe 1 or 2 projects per notebook. Sometimes they are split in the middle, and if I get a new plot bunny when I'm in the middle of writing on another project, then I'll spend some spare time just writing down everything that's come to mind about the new idea so far. And then once it's down on paper and recorded, I feel that I can safely carry on with whatever project I have going on so that I don't end up abandoning it. So whatever place you choose to store your plot bunnies, whether that's notebooks, Google Drive, Word document or similar, Scrivener or some other writing program, you can keep adding to them whenever new details come to mind. and build this little store of knowledge that will give you a good starting point when you do get round to developing these ideas. This method really works for me because it removes that feeling of panic that if I don't toss my current project out of a window and immediately begin work on the new idea, that the new idea will disappear. I do have a long waiting list of projects, but I am safe in the knowledge that they will be waiting whenever I've finished what I'm currently doing. So I think I've spoken about this in another video, but I do always tend to have 2 projects active at once. I'll have my main project, and then in the gaps between the main stages of it, I'll work on something else to get some distance. And the good thing about having a waiting list of projects is that you get the fun of looking through at all your ideas to choose your next one. And you don't even have to write them in the order that you imagined them. You can decide based on which you're more excited about, or a bunch of other criteria really, but it is important to at least organise them a little bit, in my opinion. It is fantastic that you get a lot of new ideas, and even more wonderful if you're excited about them all, but I believe you learn the most as a writer by finishing drafts of things and then by being able to experience editing of your own work. If we leave ourselves at the mercy of plot bunnies and pay attention to them as soon as they pop up, we kind of run the risk of infinite project hopping, which will lead to a risk of a collection of partly written projects. And having a pile of partly written first drafts has a limit to what it can teach you as a writer. Of course, all of this advice depends on your personal goals. If you write for fun and only for fun, by all means enjoy the freedom of riding on the winds of whatever project pops in through the window of your mind. But if you would like to publish someday in some form, getting a handle on your plot bunnies can be a really important part of growing as a writer. There are tons of forms of organisations that you can take. Usually my project notes take the form of a concept line. I don't know if I'm going to be able to find an example. And I do have a cat just off camera, probably poised to make trouble. So some of my ideas, for example, small creature uses the wishes attached to pennies thrown into wishing fountains as a currency. Not really sure what I would do with that, but it's still an idea. A character can turn their emotions on and off with a tether on the chest, and eventually they cannot turn it back on. Just that kind of thing. Just writing really small little concept lines. That's what this particular notebook is for. The others are all for a little bit more developed projects. But if a project is a more persistent plot bunny, sometimes I write very rough outlines as huge chunks of text, a little bit like this one, which is for a project called Wings of Time, which I'll eventually get to writing. And in here, I literally just have some, very rough notes about, and I ended up doing an entire rough outline. But it's there and it's waiting for whenever I get round to it. But you could perhaps have individual Google or Word documents. It doesn't have to be notebooks, and you can just bullet point if the details that you get fed by this plot bunny are quite sporadic, or you can create a visual representation of the idea like a mind map or a brainstorming sheet. You could even use a voice recorder or on your phone or a dictaphone to record your thoughts as they pop into your head if you don't want to be tempted by writing down information about the new plot bunny. So find a way to organise that suits you and make it your own, and remember that the ideas aren't going anywhere. There's no need to rush your current project to work on another, and you'll feel much better for finishing something that you've made a start on before moving on to something new. As much as we'd all just like to lay there in a hutch of fluffy rabbits and let them surround us, I fear we'd never get anything finished again if we indulged in that for too long. So tell me, have you ever struggled with an infestation of plot bunnies or been poked at by persistent ideas while you were working on something else? How did you handle it? Let me know in the comments, as I love interacting with you guys. That's all for this week's video. Next time I'm going to be talking about Neil Gaiman's Rules for Writers. He spoke about them in his masterclass and I found them very interesting and wanted to share them with you all. I hope you're all doing well. Shiva. I hope you're all doing well and that anyone doing NaNoWriMo is prepared to start work today. Good luck, guys. I'll see you all on the next one. Bye.